My first book, our latest book, is called NAVI. Yes, it's called NAVI, A Beginner's Guide into the Prophetic. I will not hail it, but I want you to go through it. Now, this book is this way because it's supposed to be a manual. I discovered that in the prophetic, we don't have materials that are foundational for beginners to build with. Altogether, I've read prophetic books. You find people's experiences, you find people's thought on certain matters, you find people using scriptures to further elaborate certain matters. But at the end of the day, it looks more religious than enlightening. Allow me to put it that way. You find the writer struggling to make sure he's religiously correct. So you rarely find enlightenment. And yet those books are very bulky. So here is a very small, summarized handout. That's what I'll call it because I wrote it with the mindset of a lecturer. A very simple handout that even the beginner in his prophetic service unto God can understand. And an elder can teach from. I simplified everything in this book here. So you see the chapter 1, who is a prophet? A prophet in this book, I'm reading from the book, a prophet is, in simple terms, is someone who speaks for a deity. And that's the general definition of a prophet, which is correct. Say, but this description only scratches the surface of who a prophet truly is. To understand a prophet fully, we need to consider the person, the deity, the mission, and the destination. I made sure we approached this subject from a more intimate perspective. So who is a prophet? We need to know the person. Because this book is about the person. Are we together? And what made him a prophet is a deity. So we also need to know who a deity is to a prophet. And then what joined them is the common interest of the deity. So we need to know the mission and how the mission affects the destination that the prophet is sent to. So I now said, a prophet is a chosen individual whose life is dedicated to serving a higher power. A prophet is a chosen individual whose life is dedicated to serving a higher power. Before becoming a prophet, this person is just an ordinary human, unaware of any divine calling. Showing you that every prophet started out as a human being with human goals. Are we together? Before becoming a prophet, this person is just an ordinary human, unaware of any divine calling. He may be chosen from his mother's womb, but until the day of his inaugural vision or encounter, he was not aware. Unaware of any divine calling. Then they have a profound and often overwhelming encounter with the divine. This experience can be frightening and awe-inspiring, leaving the person with more questions than answers. Exactly. It's frightening. It's awe-inspiring. Don't think when God appeared to the prophet stand and say, "Oh, yes, my Lord." It was a frightening experience for them. They were traumatized. They had a lot of questions, but no one to answer it. You see. Then guess what? According to the Bible, not everyone can receive this kind of calling. God chooses and reveals himself to those he deems worthy to be his spokesperson. It is God that justifies the call. It has nothing to do with election. We cannot, vote and say who is going to be a prophet among us. Okay, God, is this person, this brother, that's the one we want to be a prophet. No, it may be the criminal in your street. That's the one God will choose. Are we together? So, this calling is entirely beyond human control. So, This is NAVI, a beginner's guide into the prophetic. And this is the volume 1. And then the volume 2 is free. NAVI, a beginner's guide into spiritual hearing. All together. NAVI, a guide into spiritual hearing. That one is free of charge. It's a very short book. This is a manual. This one sells for $5.99, $5.99, which is around $7,500 in Naira. It's a manual. It is invaluable. You cannot value it. You cannot place enough value on this. And it's a beautiful work because it's a simple way to guide people in the prophetic ministry. I covered a lot of things here, misconceptions people have. Let's look at the table of content. The table of content covers who a prophet is. It explains what prophecy is. It explains the prophet's calling. It teaches you about divine communication, how to establish divine communication and understand it. Because a lot of people do not know that what separated the prophets from ordinary people was that the prophet could establish active divine communication, a two-way communication between himself and God. However, the people only had a one-way communication. They received from God's prophets and then they gave their sacrifices through the priest. But there was no way of them talking to God, God talking to them, except through a medium. And that medium is the prophet. All together. So it shows you divine communication and message. Chapter 5, the relationship between God and his prophet in the Old and in the New Testament. Number 6, how to inquire of the Lord. I gave a step-by-step guide on how you can make inquiries. You know, a lot of people meet us as prophets and say, okay, inquire of the Lord on this matter. But why it is important for you to know the relationship between God and the Old Testament prophet versus God and the New Testament prophet is so that you can come into the understanding of why I say you can inquire from the Lord through the spirit of revelation that's within us. So it's a very, very important, powerful book. And then chapter 7, types of prophets by how they minister. So that you will not say because you are used to this type of prophet, it means this other type of prophet is no. So we have types of prophets by how they minister. And then chapter 8 covers how to minister as a New Testament prophet. And then lastly, in chapter 9, we cover who is a false prophet. Who is a false prophet? We cover all that in this book. Who is a false prophet? So the link to the book is being displayed now. You can get it. You can get the book for yourself. Read it. And you can also teach from the book. NAVI, a beginner's guide into the prophetic. A lot of the things here are written in simple and summarized terms. And I did that deliberately so that you can meditate on it. You can look at it. What is he saying here? You meditate and then you come into the understanding because it's one of the ways I can use to train you. You see. So that's why I did it that way. So that you exercise your understanding of these things. You exercise your understanding in these things as it is important. We are trusting God to print, the first 1,000 hard copies and then begin to sell it. However, you can get the ebook version on seller.co. The link is in the comment section on YouTube and Facebook. Seller.co. Download. Get this one, 7,500 naira, which is $599. You can calculate that in pounds or whatever country you're buying from. And also download the free ebook that covers spiritual hearing. It's a very deep book. Very, very deep book. And with these two, you are armed. We are going to write a book on spiritual sight. And we are going to cover a lot of things in the prophetic. So this can be a manual you can teach from in church. You can buy it, place an order for your church, and then we'll ship it to you. You can use the admin line to place an order for this book and tell them the quantity you want, and then we ship it to you, whatever part of the world, so that you can teach from it. It's a manual. It's a manual. It's a simple, straightforward manual that would bless you. So get NAVI, a beginner's guide into the prophetic. A deep, deep, deep book that is going to help nurture your prophetic ministry. And it is going to bless you. Hallelujah. And trust me, I know you are going to really, really enjoy the book. You are going to really, really enjoy the book. It's a very, very simple book. And this is actually my dream for my books. I want my books to look like very simple handouts that covers specific subjects. You pick it. It's not bulky, so it doesn't discourage you. The discussion is interesting. So, and you can weigh everything I'm saying with scriptures. Are we together? God bless us in Yeshua's name.